Hey, what is up everybody? It's Animac here for Anime Uproar, and it is finally time to dive into the absolute chaos of trying to figure out the identity of Luffy's mother. I mean, there is so little information about Monkey D. Mommy that probably the most popular theory out there is the meme theory that Luffy's mom is actually gender-bent crocodile. But along with the various options I want to explore, I do have my own favorite theory about who Luffy's mother might be. A theory that involves God Valley, Forbidden Love, Roger's execution, and the real reason why Dragon wants to destroy the entire world noble system, so let's get into it. You guys know the drill. If you enjoy our videos and you want to see more in the future, leave a quick like and comment. It only takes a second, but it helps with that YouTube algorithm. And remember that subscribing and hitting that notification bell is a completely free but very important way of directly supporting the channel. You can also hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at Anime Uproar. Okay, so when I was first getting caught up to One Piece through the One Piece Virgin podcast, my co-hosts kept telling me to pay attention to Crocodile because he might actually have some crazy secret connection to Luffy. Then after I got to Impel Down, they revealed the Croco Mom Theory, the idea that Crocodile is actually a woman who was turned into a man with Ivankov's Horu Horu no Mi. That is the secret weakness that Ivankov used to blackmail Crocodile in chapter 540. Crocodile used to be a woman, and not only that, but he is literally Luffy's mother. And yes, when I first heard this theory, I thought everyone was just messing with me because I still wasn't caught up. But no, this is actually a real theory, although I feel like most people just treat it as a meme. I mean, I think they do. With One Piece fans, it can be hard to tell when we're memeing and when we're being serious. Anyway, I won't go too deeply into this theory because it is a massive rabbit hole of pure craziness. All the evidence and counter evidence aside, to me Croco Mom just doesn't make sense anymore from a narrative perspective. If such a major reveal was going to be made about Crocodile, it would have been done in the arcs where he was relevant, such as in Alabasta or Impel Down. I don't think that Oda is going to take us all the way to like Laugh Tale, where so much new stuff is going on, only to randomly reveal that, oh yeah, remember Crocodile? That is Luffy's mother. I mean, you can't rule anything out with Oda, like I don't think any of us were expecting Gear 5 to be Looney Tunes Luffy, but this is my opinion, at least for the time being. In terms of other crazy Luffy's mom theories, unfortunately, Ivankov's Horu Horu no Mi continues to create absolute pandemonium among the fandom. I've heard people argue everything from female Ivankov being Luffy's mother, which doesn't make sense based on Dragon's own conversations with Eva, to Dragon actually being Luffy's mother. Yes, Luffy's father is actually Luffy's mother, but she uses Eva's devil fruit to hide her true identity in order to avoid capture despite being the world's most wanted criminal. I mean, not gonna lie, that would be a pretty awesome strategy to stay hidden from the world government. But then that would still leave us with the question of who is Luffy's father, so let's just move on from this. Okay, let's just do a few quick Google searches of Monkey D. Dragon gender bent fan art, and then let's move on from this. Another major candidate for Luffy's mother was Bello Betty, who has proximity to Dragon since she is a revolutionary herself, and her power of rallying support from people is similar to the innate ability that Luffy seems to possess, which is inspiring people to believe in him and to support him. However, Bello Betty's current age is 34, which would have only made her 15 when Luffy was born. And Dragon was like 36 at the time, so yeah, let's all agree to never mention this theory again. Jewelry Bonnie is another popular candidate, and even though she appears to be in her mid-20s, her devil fruit allows her to alter her own age and the age of others. So she could technically be old enough to be Luffy's mom, but she's just pulling a Tsunade and making herself look younger. There are definitely some similarities between her and Luffy. For instance, she can consume insane amounts of food just like Luffy, and she has moments in which her behavior and expressions are reminiscent of Luffy's. The single most interesting thing about Bonnie's backstory is found in chapter 595 of the manga. After entering the New World, Bonnie and her crew are defeated by Blackbeard and she is taken hostage. Blackbeard says that she's too weak to join his crew, but he would allow her to join if she agreed to become his woman. Bonnie rejects this and kicks Blackbeard in the face, and in that very moment, the Blackbeard pirates are informed that Akainu himself is about to arrive on the island. The Blackbeard pirates clear out and leave Bonnie in chains. When Akainu arrives at the scene, He says the following directly to Bonnie. "A cold shiver ran through me when I heard you'd run away from the government, but it's all over now." An angry Bonnie responds with, "You'll pay for this." The Marines then take Bonnie into custody, but she eventually manages to escape. That part about Akainu being worried when he heard that Bonnie escaped from the world government is definitely going to be important later, and it is clear that there is more to Bonnie than meets the eye. Could she be someone who was part of the world government but betrayed them in order to become a pirate? Was she a Marine? Was she somehow related to Akainu personally? Or was she perhaps a world noble who decided to leave Marijois, kind of like the Don Quixote family? Bonnie is said to be from the South Blue, but like her age, that could be part of a fake identity she is using to evade the world government. The mystery of Bonnie and her true intentions get even more interesting during the reverie. Even though she is supposed to be on the run from the world government, Bonnie decides to infiltrate Marijois by posing as the elderly Queen Dowager of the Sorbet Kingdom. The Sorbet Kingdom is one of the participants in the reverie, and it was once ruled by Bartholomew Kuma, who, as we all know, ended up joining the revolutionaries. At least he did at first, although he later decided to become a warlord, and eventually he became a cyborg thanks to Dr. Vegapunk. We don't know why Kuma left the revolutionaries, and it's extremely likely that he was forced to do it through some sort of blackmail. After Bonnie manages to sneak into the so-called Domain of the Gods, she sees Rosward abusing cyborg Kuma, who has now become a slave for rent. This sight seems to really affect and upset Bonnie, which might indicate that she has some sort of connection to Kuma and by extension to the revolutionaries. And if Bonnie is in fact connected to the revolutionaries, then she could have met Dragon and conceived Luffy with him. Again, provided that she is actually a lot older than she pretends to be. Other aspects of Bonnie's behavior that appear to hint that something like this is possible is the fact that she actually cried during Ace's execution. She also praised Luffy and Law's actions and said she was proud to be a member of the same generation as them. And of course, she went out of her way to stop Zoro from hitting Charlos at Sabaody, and if she hadn't done that, then Zoro and the whole archipelago would have faced massive retaliation from the world government. I mean, none of these things prove that she is Luffy's mother, not even close, but they do contribute to it being a possibility. And if Luffy's mother does turn out to be someone we've already met in the story, I do think that it will be Bonnie. After all, her character is based on probably the most famous female pirate of all time, Anne Bonny. Since there are very few female pirates in recorded history, if Luffy's mother was to be a pirate, then basing her on Anne Bonny would make a lot of sense. That said, it is entirely possible that Luffy's mother is a character that we haven't even met yet. A lot of people believe that she might just be dead. We've never met her because she died long before the story began. But if she was dead, why not just say that from the beginning? If Oda just made it clear that Luffy's mom died before the story started, then no one would have any more questions about her and the story would proceed in the same way it has with practically no differences. The fact that Oda has left this open-ended for so long suggests that he does plan to use Luffy's mom in the story at some point in the future. And in fact, in the past, Oda has implied that Luffy's mom is alive and that he has already drawn her. There is some debate about whether Oda was referring to Luffy's biological mother here or if he was referring to his adoptive mother, Dadan. But my personal guess is that Luffy's mother is still alive and that she will be officially introduced at some point in the future. And that brings me to my favorite theory about the identity of Luffy's mother. The theory that she is actually a member of the Celestial Dragons. Although it might sound crazy at first, this would actually explain a whole lot about Monkey D. Dragon and about where Luffy's mother has been all this time. This would also allow for Luffy's mom to be introduced late in the story and still have a lot of narrative power and meaning. To be clear, I'm not the first person to come up with this theory, and in fact, Tekking 101 talked about it in a video over 3 years ago. I'm sure that even before that, this theory was being discussed on Reddit and other message boards. But what really got me thinking about this theory is the infamous God Valley incident, something I was researching for my video about Joy Boy potentially being the ancient weapon Uranus. I think that God Valley provides the missing link that can tie the entire theory together. Just a quick reminder, the God Valley incident was a major event that took place 38 years ago, and the truth about what happened was strictly censored by the world government. Today, only the older generations of Marines are even aware of the incident, in which Rox D. Zebek, who is probably the greatest rival of Gold D. Roger, had assembled an incredibly powerful pirate crew that consisted of a young Whitebeard, Kaido, and Big Mom, among many other well-known pirates, and then declared war on the world government. Zebek set out to make himself the king of the world, which means that he was determined to straight up overthrow the Celestial Dragons. So 38 years ago, Zebek and his overpowered crew attacked a remote island known as God Valley. In chapter 957, Sengoku gives us a quick overview of what happened. And that is when we learn that at the time of Zebek's attack, Celestial Dragons were present on the island. Sengoku doesn't specify how many Celestial Dragons were there or which ones, we just know that some of them were on the island along with their slaves. In order to defeat Zebek and protect the Celestial Dragons, the world government did something unprecedented. They worked together with Goldie Roger in order to take Zebek down. Garp and Roger were the MVPs of this fight, and after Zebek was defeated, the Rock's pirates were dissolved. The truth about the entire incident was then erased from history by the world government, and the island of God Valley itself vanished from the face of the earth. So we have Garp, Roger, Zebek, Kaido, Big Mom, and Whitebeard all on the same island along with a bunch of Celestial Dragons. What an absolutely incredible setup for a flashback arc or even a future One Piece movie. But what if there was one other major character present at God Valley? We're just not aware of it yet. We know that Garp always wanted his son and grandson to follow in his footsteps and to become Marines. So what if a young dragon was actually there with Garp at the time of the God Valley incident? Dragon would have been about 17 years old back then, and he may have been a new recruit or a Marine in training under the direct supervision of his father Garp. In their capacity as Marines, Garp and Dragon would have been tasked with rescuing the Celestial Dragons before Zebek got to them. Dragon may have taken part in the rescue operation, which would help explain why Garp fought so hard to protect the Celestial Dragons even though he hates them, and why he was willing to work together with Roger even though he hates pirates. If Dragon was present on the island, then his safety would also depend on defeating Zebek. So Garp did what he had to do not just to protect the world nobles, but also to protect his own son. Now, if Dragon was on God Valley, then he likely would have had direct contact with the Celestial Dragons as part of the rescue operation. And what if one of those Celestial Dragons was a young woman around the same age as Dragon? They could have met there and established a relationship that would last for many years to come. It's possible that they ran away together right then and there, causing Dragon to abandon his career as a Marine, or they could have parted ways at God Valley but found some way of staying in touch and meeting in secret. Luffy was born 19 years after the God Valley incident, so if Luffy's mother is a world noble who met Dragon on that day, then she must have spent nearly 2 decades in a relationship with him. Perhaps it was a long-distance relationship, or perhaps they actually ran away together, but either way, Luffy would eventually be born, Luffy's mother would disappear without a trace, and Dragon would become the commander of a revolutionary army that is trying to bring down the entire world government. So, assuming that Luffy's mom is a Celestial Dragon who had an affair with Monkey D. Dragon, I guess we would call that ship Dragon X Dragon or Double Dragon, and assuming that Luffy's mother is indeed still alive, then where is she now? Why haven't we seen her in the story, either with Luffy or with Dragon or with anyone else? For the answer to these questions, we have to remember who the Celestial Dragons are and how they view other people. They claim to possess the blood of this world's creators, and they see themselves as gods compared to other people. They believe themselves to be inherently superior to everyone else, and even the kings and nobles of powerful kingdoms that are part of the world government are seen as mere playthings by the Celestial Dragons. A single Celestial Dragon has immense power, the admirals are under their direct command, and an attack of any kind on a single world noble could lead to the destruction of an entire kingdom. Ironically, these same facts provide the explanation for both how Luffy's parents might have been able to maintain a forbidden relationship and what could have happened to Luffy's mother after Luffy was born. As I said, Even a single celestial dragon has a lot of power and influence, so it is possible that Luffy's mom could have used that power to maintain a secret relationship with Dragon. There are some small hints that something like this could have been going on for years. For instance, Dragon was present at Goldie Roger's execution, and if you pause the anime at just the right time, you can just barely make out what appears to be a celestial dragon in the crowd. The fact that this person is standing among the crowd suggests that they were there in an unofficial capacity. Now, to me this looks like a male celestial dragon, although it's hard to make out the person's facial features. But even if this is a guy, this world noble could have been sent here by Luffy's mother in order to send a message to Dragon or receive a message from him, or both. And yes, I do realize that this is a huge stretch, but I just found it so interesting that a celestial dragon seems to be there at the execution, and yet you really have to go out of your way to spot it. Anyway, there is a big difference between a celestial dragon carrying on a forbidden affair with someone and the celestial dragon actually having a child with someone who is not a world noble. Not to mention that Dragon is a member of the D clan, who are the natural enemies of the world nobles. Don't forget that the world nobles are descendants of only 19 families, and that they view their blood as sacred and pure. It goes without saying that a celestial dragon having a child with someone who is not a world noble would be strictly forbidden. A world noble having a child with Monkey D. Dragon would not only lead to that individual woman facing social pressure, it would actually be a lot more serious than that. A world noble having a child with someone like Dragon would challenge the entire world noble system. It would challenge the very notion that celestial dragons are gods who are superior to other people. And so the world nobles would go to any length to erase all evidence of something like that happening. If Luffy's mother is a celestial dragon, the reason we've never seen her is because she was likely imprisoned in Marijois as soon as the truth about her son came out. Using her power as a world noble, she may have been able to find ways of seeing Dragon before this. And she may have even been plotting to change the corrupt system of the world nobles along with Dragon. But as soon as a child was brought into the picture, there would be no more lenience. She would have been stripped of all of her rights and freedoms and permanently imprisoned somewhere deep within Marijois so that she could never reveal the fact that a celestial dragon had a child with someone who is not only a commoner, but also a member of the dreaded D clan. On top of that, the world nobles would have almost certainly wanted to get rid of baby Luffy permanently, but it seems that Garp somehow managed to protect him. After the love of his life was imprisoned, Dragon escalated his revolutionary activities against the world government. His motivations are not only justice and fairness, his motivations are also personal because he wants to rescue Luffy's mother from her captivity. And this is why Dragon became known as the world's worst criminal. Many criminals and pirates have directly threatened the world government over the years, but only the man who dared to have a child with a celestial dragon deserves the title of the very worst criminal. This is the secret that Dragon has been keeping from everyone, including his own revolutionary comrades. The secret that he fell in love with a celestial dragon and that he is driven in part by the desire to rescue her. Also, it would be pretty poetic if Luffy ended up being the one who takes down the celestial dragons and the world government. That would prove that the D clan really are the natural enemies of the celestial dragons. Because a single celestial dragon's decision to have a child with a member of the D clan brought about the destruction of all of them. All of this is highly speculative, of course, because when it comes to Luffy's mother, speculation is really all we have. That said, the Juri Bonnie theory that I mentioned earlier could actually be somewhat combined with this theory. If Bonnie is hiding her true age, and if the reason why the world government is after her is the fact that she is a celestial dragon who went rogue, then Bonnie could be Dragon's forbidden love. The only difference would be that after she was imprisoned for having Luffy, she actually managed to escape her captivity. I'm not saying this is likely, but as I mentioned earlier, Luffy and Bonnie do have similar energy. Let me know what you guys think. Who is Luffy's mother? Is she someone we've already met in the story, or is she yet to be introduced? Is she dead, or is she still alive? Is she an important person like a celestial dragon, or is she just a regular woman? Definitely leave your thoughts down in the comments below. I always love hearing from you. If you guys enjoyed this video and you want to see more in the future, don't forget to leave a like and comment. It only takes a second, but it really helps with that YouTube algorithm. And remember that subscribing and hitting that bell is a completely free but important way of directly supporting the channel. You can also hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at AnimeUproar. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys!